That's awesome. I had chicken breast. Chicken breast with, it's like a creamy sauce with spinach, mushrooms, and a nice salad on the side with water.
I definitely had water. I had Burger King.
Yeah,
I've been craving Burger King. Like,
What was it, Whopper Wednesday yesterday?
yeah, I didn't even realize. I'm just like, having a Burger King so long. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get some Burger King. So I got
Nothing wrong with that,
Impossible Whopper. Because I've always liked Burger King better than McDonald's.
Right.
I like it better than Wendy's.
Impossible. The impossible meat thing? Is that what you're saying? That's what you had?
Yeah.
Oh, how is it?
It's good, man.
Is it?
It's good.
I've never tried one I've liked.
It
What's
doesn't
that?
taste bad or
That you've liked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say that I like it coming directly from the cow. Yeah. I just gotta say. I mean, I've tried all of them.
like the Beyond and
Yeah, well, wherever, because a lot of them also they're always trying to find endorsements, right?
Yeah,
from
sure.
someone like myself, and I'm like,
let me try it.
it's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Could be better.
Yeah, I think part of it's like just make something that tastes good. Don't always try to replicate something else. For example, when you do like cauliflower, just make cauliflower bites, something that's cauliflower.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be, because when you associate the wings, you think chicken wings. Well, this doesn't taste anything like chicken wings, so you think it tastes bad. It's like, it doesn't taste bad. It just
But it's
doesn't
not
taste
chicken
anything
wings.
like chicken wings. If you stop calling it chicken wings, people will like it a lot more.
And that's exactly what marketing should be. No, for real. Don't say say here's a burger. It's a healthier burger for you. You know, we're gonna make the flavor might resemble, whatever. Like flavor is usually a type of sauce too, right?
Yeah.
So
Not even really the meat itself.
right. So don't say beef-like, because if I'm gonna eat beef-like, I'll just eat beef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And on that note, welcome everybody to another episode of the Gents Talk Pod. We have a very, very special guest with us. A legend, someone that I've grown up watching and admiring from a distance. So it's an incredible honor to be even sitting here with you. We have with us a 2-time Olympic champion, a 3-time world champion, a 2-time world record holder, the first man to hold all 3 of those titles at the same time in the world.
Undisputed. Right?
Undisputed. The champ. We have someone with us who's been inducted not once. It's hard enough to get inducted once, but to get inducted twice into the Canada Sports Hall of Fame.
How do you get inducted twice?
I guess I did some really good things. Individually and as a team.
Oh, okay.
I see. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And you're a member of the Order of Canada.
Indeed.
Donovan Bailey, the legend himself. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. This is I'm looking forward to this. I looked up you guys a little bit, and I tend to do a little bit of research when I come and do things. And I'm looking forward to our chat today. So again, on this dreary, rainy day, thanks
Very rainy.
thanks for
What was your
having
thoughts
me.
when you looked into us?
I like ambitious people.
Okay.
Amen. Yeah, that's it.
That's it? Okay, we'll go with that.
That's it. I like ambitious people.
I think that's a good
I
compliment.
like- yes.
I'm ambitious. I'll take it. That's a dub.
Yeah, for sure.
So, one of the things that I really just want to know from you directly, when you hear all of those accomplishments, what goes through your mind? Does it ever wear off?
I don't think about it. I think that I am a student, and I say this in my daily life, whether or not it's a corporate appearance or a meeting, or I'm hanging out with my kids or my family. When I hear accomplishments, I guess I just think about. I try to think about what it is I need to do every single day, and I have to make that day be productive. So along the way, obviously, when you are or when you think that you're being productive, then I guess accolades are going to come along with it. And so when I hear it, I just I'm thankful, certainly humbled, but I know that for my own personal goals, I have a long way to go.
What are those goals?
I don't know. I just want to live a full life. I always, I had the incredible blessings to meet two of the greatest human beings in the world, which is Nelson Mandela is one, and Muhammad Ali is the other. And when I look at their lives, then I'm like, that's a life well lived, man, because you go from, whatever scars or PTSD or struggles or whatever it is that these two men have gone through in their life. They lived a complete life, really, with all, like, with every part of their being, and there's no human being that's flawless in this world, but they live a good life, and fortunately, those are, when I think of incredible people that have done incredible things. I look at both those men, but you look at other accomplished people also. I mean, guys who athletes who turn corporate animals. You think about, I think about many things, and so my goals are to capitalize on and maximize every single day, so that I am still challenging myself to be successful in my mind, which is, I'm my worst judge. So I want to be successful in my mind.
Do you do a lot of self-talk?
Do I self-talk?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm someone that I've always been a confident person, and I've always been a confident person because of my parents, and because I've always been supported by them, and also I got a really good support system, really good friends that are always going to drive you to be a better you, your authentic self. So I set goals, and then I try to create a plan. So I don't know about self-motivation or self-talk. But I tend to motivate myself very well. And I share information with people that are supporting me, or would support me, even if it's a crazy idea. So yeah, I mean, I tend to, I don't talk myself out of things, and I'll definitely be someone that will challenge myself to do something that someone might think is impossible. I mean, I did it with in sport and in business, and sky's still the limit.
So those moments though where you're trying to get motivated, whether it was for a race or for a business venture or anything like that, what do you specifically do?
Well, the number one thing, I have to ask myself if I put the work in, and because there's a lot of people that have incredible dreams that just haven't put the work in. So have I put the work in? Am I prepared? What are all the bumps that might come along the way? Are the people that are around me supportive of the goals that I have or not? And then, I could be wide open. I think as soon as, I can tick the box of, 3 or 4 questions, then I can pursue it. Have all the ingredients, and then I go at it.
Okay.
Yeah, how did you make that transition from like a sprinter to be such a successful businessman? Because usually from the sports, it's like it's hard really after the sports to figure out what you're going to do next.
By failing a lot. I think that I think that, to me, Jeff Bezos is a successful businessman. So I don't put myself in that category. I think that we're talking about Elon Musk. These are successful businessmen, and I'm not there yet. In sports or in track and field, certainly I'm extremely successful at that. But yeah, you know what? I just for me, I just want to ensure that I'm doing the right things, and I learn from the right people. And so transitioning, I think I think I said before that I'm always a student. So to reach out and associate myself to someone who's really good at whatever it is that they do is probably my number one. That's one of my number one traits. If I see, if I'm trying to understand what's going on with my body, I'm gonna connect with the number one doctor or the person that probably is in my immediate network. In business, I try to do the same thing, and I try to learn from people who have wisdom and experience, and also those very same people who are passionate about what it is that they do in whatever it is, that whatever field of study or business, whatever it is that they do. I tend to gravitate to those people to learn from them.
If they're not in your immediate circle, let's say there's somebody you want to reach out to, how do you get to that person?
We live in a place. The world we live in right now is, for me personally, I feel that I'm either only one phone call or one email from any human being on this planet. That's just my personal feeling with my network. But I do speak to a lot of young people like yourself, and you have the world. I mean, reaching out online, the world is such a small place right now. So yes, if you're trying to pursue something, it's such a small place where people are so accessible. So reach out to them and continue to pursue that, because someone knows somebody that knows somebody. If that person that you're looking to reach out to, if they understand and see your drive and your ambition, most likely they'll reach back out and say, man, you've been at me for a while. You've been trying to get me for a minute. Okay, you come on into my office or whatever. Come sit down for a couple of minutes. You know what I mean?
And persistence.
Right. Well, there's so much information that's out there, so you can, just like I'm saying, I looked up you guys before I came on here. You can look up anybody and at least get some semblance of information. Not always, information is not always true. We know this.
I like that you looked us up.
Yeah,
you still came in, so it means
Donovan Bailey looked us up.
He's like, it's all right, it's okay.
No, but it's
good. It was like in the sense, like, it's ambitions that you saw something like, okay, cool, this is something that I want to still go on.
Right.
So
but I'm saying to that, I like ambition. You have to. I love ambition. So if someone is doing something and they're heading in obviously a direction of success, or they've already been successful, why not? So that's kind of how I am, and that's how I see it, and that's the advice I give to young people. Like, you can pick up the phone and call somebody, maybe not, but you can email somebody somewhere.
And get a hold of somebody to get a hold of somebody else. Correct.
And say, here's my plan here. If you prepare yourself and you do the work, if you're doing a business, or you wrote a script or something, someone will answer you if you're out there and they realize that you're that passionate about being successful
and authentic.
Well, you have to be
genuine.
Well, if you're passionate, you probably are both those things. I think that those go together. Hopefully, when you get to people with, get to experts, we'll say, they can see bull crap quickly, right? They'll be able to see it quickly, for sure.
I want to go back for a moment to the career as an athlete. At what point, what was it like when you finally realized, I'm now ready to step away from something I've been working towards, presumably your entire life?
Are you talking about retiring from being an athlete?
Correct, yeah.
Well, you know what? I participated in an individual sport. So sprinting or track and field, golf and tennis are the exact same thing. Father time gets you, dude. Father time. You can't. This is not football where a quarterback has the capabilities to hide behind teammates, or in hockey you can do the same thing, or basketball, baseball, football, all of the team sport. You have the ability to hide and obviously continue and pad your career. Put a couple of years and pad your career. In my sport, you don't. And so when I started getting injured often, I ruptured my Achilles in the fall of 1998. So the writing was on the wall then. Rupturing your Achilles, where you're essentially, I'm weaving my Achilles and then surgically replacing it back to my ankle. you're not. I'm first of all, no man has ever come back to be, a top sprinter in the world after an Achilles injury, much less a rupture. So I knew that writing was on the wall, and Father Time will always get you as an individual athlete because you can't hide. If you get out there and you screw up, it's all you.
Yeah.
And if you get out there and you win, it's also all you. Yeah. So Father Time will always get you.
How did you reconcile though all of that? Like, was it easy for you because you achieved essentially the pinnacle
Right.
of your sport,
Right.
multiple times,
Right.
So was it? I'm going to say the word easy. Was it an easy decision for you to say, you know what, it's time because of the injuries, or was it something that you struggled with?
Oh, I didn't struggle with it. But I think it's for a man in like a testosterone driven like sport. I mean the 100 meters is like heavyweight boxing, so and adrenaline's a hell of a thing, and competition is a hell of a thing, and that's probably like just competition on a world stage is probably the greatest drug that exists on the planet in the history of the world. So I think it was, and it's also hard to embrace that your body, that so many times, I get out there. It's my body. I've had it my whole life. And so you kind of get out there and you naturally react to competition. You naturally react to speed. I mean, when I play basketball, I can naturally just go and dunk the ball, and then you get to the point, you kind of go, man, this is tough. So I think that it was. I think you had to embrace it. For me, I was on second and third rounds of winning or championships. So at least I knew that I took advantage of the opportunities when I had it. But yeah, it was difficult to just reconcile that it's time. Father Time was coming. And I had to adjust quickly, and then I had to find something else that was going to be at least give me some semblance of competition, which is business has always been that way. So, to gravitate back to the boardroom was something that, thank God, I'd done before track, and I'm one of the few people that actually went from business to sport and then back to business. So it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that difficult, but it was really hard for me to embrace because competition. I loved being in the sun and representing Canada and competing against the rest of the top people in the world. So yeah, that was it was just hard to embrace.
Did you feel any what was the pressure component for you, like when you get to that starting line? You're competing for gold. You're representing Canada. You're competing against the best in the world.
Right.
Pressure often gets to a lot of athletes. How did you deal with pressure?
I dealt with it great just because the things that I preach about is that you have to put the work in. You have to put the work in. You have to surround yourself with people that are going to push you to be better than even you thought you were. And my coach, Dan Paff, is someone who said, hey, man, he told me this when I just started. He said, if you want to be the greatest in the world, you just got to get serious and come down and start training with me. So that's it. I pressure to me, when you have put the work in and when you have embraced what your God-given talent is, pressure really becomes secondary. And that's one of the things that, that I loved, knowing that I didn't really care whether or not, I was in a stadium with 100,000 people or there's billions of people watching and it's live TV. And I never really bothered me because the track to me was like, it was basically like my living room watching a sporting event or in the theater watching a movie. I mean, I just thought I was extremely comfortable because I'd already put the work in.
So preparation and work leading up to all that, you're saying completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
sure.
The component of then transferring into business and the different pressures that come with business, how have you sort of managed that? You said that you started in business, you went into track, and then from track back to business. The entrepreneurial side seems very much alive for you, like a thing, like a part of you. How have you sort of jumped back into the boardroom and sort of started off all the different ventures that you're into?
I think it's the exact same components. It's the exact same components. You know, I'm up early doing a lot of reading, you know, finding out as much as I can about if I'm part of a startup in the tech sector and I know absolutely nothing about it. My responsibility is to learn as much about it as possible before I walk into that meeting. I mean, I'm not a wallflower. I've never been that guy. So I learn as much as possible. And then to ensure that if I'm asked a question, kind of like us sitting having a conversation right now, if I'm asked a question about something quite specific, then I want to make sure that I'm prepared to answer that question, especially if I am, you know, if I have an equity stake in that company or they have hired me to be an ambassador for their business, you know, or whatever. Like whatever it is, I have to make sure that I'm prepared. Manage my own brand and business, but more importantly, to allow my partners in whatever business that might be, whatever startup that might be, that I'm taking this seriously too, and that my time is definitely not to be wasted.
What are you hoping to accomplish from the business side of things? Do you get a rush from building? Do you get enjoyment or fulfillment from just keeping busy? What is it about entrepreneurship and business specifically?
I love success. So I'm going to tell you this. Every year when I was an athlete, every single year, essentially if my body was a car, every year I'd start training in October. So around October 15th, I'd head back to Louisiana State University or at University of Texas when I was for the last few years, many years, but the years that I was training there. But essentially what my coach and I did was like dismantled my body. So imagine if I am a race car and every single component is taken apart and cleaned and fixed and strengthened, and then you meticulously kind of put it back together over the year, right? Leading up to like our season or to a major championships. Now, obviously, you can't take a human body apart. You know, we can't do that. Yeah,
not yet.
However, that's what happened. You know, we would talk about the very first day of practice. We would talk about, you know, what the major championships were, times that we wanted to achieve. Essentially my season. So we'd sit and schedule all of my competitions from indoor to outdoor. And then we would meticulously work on every single muscle, tendon, you know, your nervous system, psychology. Like every single day we worked on something different, or we build or added on something different. So I love that about sport, and it's the exact same thing that we have to do in business. If you have a startup, you have to, first of all, you got to understand what it is. You have to sit and discuss what your goals are and what it is that you have to do to get there. And then you have to, you know, brick by brick, every single day. It's construction, it's a house. Every single day you have to, you know, add a component, continue to build on your strength and continue to strengthen your weaknesses. And that's kind of what I did with my body. And that's exactly the same. Those are the same characteristics that exist in business for me.
Interesting.
How old are your kids?
My oldest is, I have young and old kids.
do they like?
Yes.
Do they know?
My daughter's 27. She's oldest. Yeah.
Do they know that you were like the baddest man on the planet for a bit? Like, do they believe it? Like, you know, as kids, like they don't like. Do they like? I know you tell them like, okay, I'm the bad guy. Like, I was the baddest man on the planet, but like,
I don't tell them that.
No.
You know, here's the thing.
I don't on TV.
So my 17-year-old son he plays basketball and he's very good. My daughter was 2 in Atlanta, or just turning 2 in Atlanta, but. These yeah, I mean, I'm just dad, dude. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just dad to my kids, and and that's really good enough for me, because I don't want added pressure, because I think a big problem that happens sometimes, that's why I don't even post things about my kids and all that, because it's added pressure already to be like, to be a kid. That's one, especially in a time and place right now where, people's lives are everywhere, and that's out there, and there's so much temptation and so much distraction. But not only are you a kid, you're my kid. And then if you play sports, it's like, oh my God, well, he's slow or she's slow. Like, I'm just saying, oh, you can't run or you can't jump or, whatever. I'm saying to you that listen, at some point, my kids will understand. We have, I probably have $10 million worth of memorabilia. I'm writing a book that comes out this summer, and I'm writing a book largely for probably the Canadian public, and young people don't really understand how dominant I was, as well as our team, our relay team. So I'm doing all that largely for the younger generation, especially my kids.
It'd be like a biography or like a.
I think it'd be a memoir, biography, and a lot of stories about when we were just crushing people.
What's your favorite
disrespecting
story?
people on the track court, man.
Yeah, maybe.
Man.
I
It's gotta be fresh in your mind.
No, but I don't have favorite stories, because here's what happens. There are times that I'm in an environment where I'm reminded of something, and I've just like I said, I mean, I live in the moment, and what I'm going to do is going to capitalize on the opportunity today. I'll capitalize on an opportunity today, and I'm reminded sometimes of things that people like, hey, I saw you in Germany, and this is what you said to me, and then you went out and you did some great things, or I met you in Norway, or I saw you in Brazil, or wherever. I mean, I've been to 190 countries in the world, so you meet people and speak to people, and they'll tell you what resonated with them or what was important to them, and so my favorite story a lot is the one that I'm reminded of that I might have forgotten. I mean, everyone understands, like, winning gold medals and breaking world records and being number one, and these moments that I'm reminded of every single day, whether or not it's in person or online or in the newspaper. But the important ones to me are those little touches. I mean, I met a kid that was having a rough time, and I did not know this. He was 16 years old. I was playing basketball at Sheridan College. We were just playing pickup basketball one night, and the kid was 16. He came up, he started asking me a bunch of questions, and I kind of sat down and talked to him. And come to find out, I ran into him a couple of years later, and he was a dentist. He had left Canada, went to Northern Illinois University, I believe it was Northern Illinois University. Became a dentist, ran track, but and he just said thank you. He said, you don't even understand. How my world was falling apart when I had that conversation with you. And I'm like, oh, well, I was just being me, and I was just doing whatever I would do normally, which would be, if someone has a goal or a dream, my responsibility is to motivate them and challenge them to be their better self. And I'm going to tell them to surround themselves with people that are always going to be those kind of people, challenging you and challenging themselves to be better, and pursue goals, and don't let anyone dim your light.
Is that the advice you would give to the younger generation today?
Oh, 100%. 100%. There's so much distraction, and and there's so much criticisms. And I tell people this all the time. I mean, the mental health is a huge thing that's spoken about quite a bit, and I try to tell people that those people that don't like you, they're the ones that are watching you the hardest, and the greatest way to disappoint those people is to be successful.
Yeah. So amen to that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I try to be an optimistic and positive person at all times. Hey, I'm not a morning person. So I am miserable in the morning. So like I said, I'm no angel. But I will always use my time to at least help.
how do you think you would have handled being an athlete at the level you were at if you were doing that today?
You know what? I think it'd be great. Apparently I was very built for, apparently, and I hear this quite a bit. It's like, hey, man, you're like a generation. You're like a generation. You're a generation. You're way ahead of yourself, or you're a generation ahead of yourself. He said, if we had, Twitter and Instagram in the mid-90s, you'd have 300 million followers. Yeah. Because one, all of Canada is going to be on board, and then the Caribbean and largely the track world, which is a ton of people. So yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm built for it. I mean, I'm someone, again, I tell people this. If someone's criticizing you, they've spent the time to observe you and see what you're doing and is watching you. So one of the things, when I used to get criticism, I always responded to those people, especially when it was harsh. I'm like, man, you took the time to look and see what I'm doing. Thank you for your support. And that pissed them off even more. So I'm saying to you that. So today, I mean, again, I encourage kids to think about that. At the end of the day, if someone took time out to scroll and stop and observe what you're doing, there's something going on. Thank them for their support and move on.
I like that.
Can you still run?
Oh, I don't know about all that.
I mean, because your Achilles, or just because it's...
No, I play basketball every Monday night.
Yeah.
So I guess your answer would be yes, but I don't. I mean, I think sprinting, I have not been on the track
in any capacity
with a pair of spikes on my feet since I retired in 2001.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have not done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you miss it?
Competition. Oh my God.
What about recreational? Why not because they still have older, they do the older waves with you could do the 55 to 60 and be it doesn't have to be that Olympic level, but still
not when you're a world record holder, my man.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Not when if you're the greatest that ever walked the face of the earth at one point.
Yes.
Imagine if you're playing, again, in team sport, you can hide people. So you can certainly have Ronaldo from Brazil, Pele, who just passed away. You can have a celebrity soccer game. Mm-hmm. A celebrity 100 meters. What the only people that you can get would be, imagine that all of the world record holders or the world champions or the Olympic champions, they all got to line up, which means that would be old to young. It'd be let's say the people that are alive. So maybe Alan Wells from 1980 to Usain Bolt. Mm-hmm. And that would be very unfair for a lot of us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I don't think of it that way. I mean, I will play a celebrity golf game against those or with those guys. But everyone, I'm every single athlete that you speak to, whether they've been retired for a year or 50 years, that fire never dies. Mm-hmm. So it simply means that if there was ever a chance that we're all stupid enough to go and run 100 meters, it would end sadly for most of us, because what happens is your muscle memory will kick in at some point and you're going to be I feel good, I'm at the 30-meter mark, now I'm going to go for it, and your hamstring is going to be left on the track, your Achilles, toes, I mean, you're going to fall on your face. So to your answer, to your question, no. No running. I play basketball with a bunch of my peers, so it's and it's good competitive basketball. Most of the guys that played, at least played at a high level in high school. Okay. So high school, college, some ex-pro guys. So I mean, we get a good game going, and then we go out for a beer after, and we can talk about the game or watch sports on TV or talk about our kids.
5-on-5, or is it
a real game, 5-on-5.
What position you play?
So I used to play small forward. So now I'm like a shooting guard, small forward. Okay. I mean, I still technically I'm one of the most athletic. I mean, like I said, it's my peers. Mm-hmm. So I'm still technically one of the most athletic person on the court. Mm-hmm. And also I'm doing it for the run. I'm doing it to get a sweat on. Yeah. This is not about real competition, but it's so nice to be involved in a sport that there's a score at the end of it, and someone wins and someone loses, but it doesn't really matter because we go back and play again.
Yeah. Interesting.
Do you think the winning and losing someone needs, because I know like in like
I was gonna
kid
ask
sports,
that,
like
yeah.
the things like the Timmy's League. I think it's a Timmy's League, but they just don't keep score in the soccer game or something.
Well, so two things. I think that every kid should participate in sports.
Yeah.
I want to get that clear. Participate in sports, but at some point you must keep score. For me, for me, I've always said that when you get to a certain age where you're trying to understand that sport resembles what it's going to look like when you get to be an adult. Sports is going to resemble The Office. Sports is going to resemble professional sports. Sports is going to resemble, being a doctor or being a lawyer. So you have to understand where you fit into the world and what your role might be. However, I think that sometimes people take losing as a failure, right? And so ultimately for me, I've always said that you either win or you learn. So there's two parts to that. Sometimes winning doesn't mean that you're in first place, right? And so I'll give you an example of that. When I just started track and field, we had a track meet in Rome, and so people ask me about what it is. When did I know that I was on the right path? I was racing against the top guys at the time in the world. It was competition there. I was leading the race partway through it. I kind of looked around because I was surprised. I ended up coming third or fourth in that race. And I was very upset. But I was very upset for one reason. It was because I didn't mind my own business. I was in my lane, and what I should have done was realize that I was with the best people and they're focused on winning as I was. And I got distracted. So after, I kind of got over myself, I realized that was probably the best win that I've ever had, because on that day, I knew that I belonged. On that day, I knew that I was going to be the best or one of the best. On that day, I knew I could break world records. On that day, I was going to be a world champion. On that day, I was going to be Olympic champion. That's just one scenario on that side. Also, I think Michael Jordan always says it best. He said that you can't it's something about missing shots. You can't.
Is it you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
You miss 100%. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I was scrambling for that, but yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, so failure is really about learning. So you really should substitute that word failure and put learning in it, because there are lots of times that you go in and you fail at something, but in actual fact, what you're doing is learning about something that you probably shouldn't repeat. Because ultimately, if you're trying to win or you're trying to get better at something and you have a goal and you're trying to do these things, then it's quite simple that if you continue to learn from whatever mistakes that you might or might not have made, then the next time you get into that space, or the next time you have an opportunity to do whatever it is that you're doing, that you're not gonna need correction because you already went down that road and you've already banked on the negative that you might have gotten, from doing something in the first place, which you believe that you might have failed.
Do you feel that perhaps today's generation of athletes, I don't know if coddled is the right word, but it's almost as though, I'm saying that because it's almost as though there's a fear of failing, which means they never learn, which means when they really come up against adversity, too often, too many of them quit.
Well, you can't be a quitter. You can't be a quitter. That you just can't be a quitter. That's to me, that's just not cool at all. You can't be a quitter. You can't quit on your team. I think that obviously I'm an old school guy. So as an old school guy who I'm a big, massive basketball fan, and I try to I have some good friends that actually played in the league, but at the time when if you're driving to the hoop, someone's trying to literally take your head off. So yeah, I think that athletes are coddled, but at the other hand, we always have to look at how it is that sport has to evolve. If you're bigger and you're stronger and you're faster, you probably can't play the way that you used to play sports. You know what I mean? Like you can't, you've got guys that are, Shaq size that are point guards today. You know what I mean? And so you have to. You have to be able to evolve and kind of see how things are. Yes, I believe that the league, football, and all these, especially a lot of these sports that are contact sports. It certainly was rougher back in the day, but yeah, I mean, you have to evolve now to kind of understand that people are bigger and stronger and faster. So there would be probably more like crazy injuries that's never been seen before if they played in the same rules that they played at before.
And what would you tell a younger Donovan Bailey? You can look back and go back in time and say one thing that you've learned after all these years. What would that be?
Oh man, probably be patient. I have zero patience, man. I have zero patience, and then I have less tolerance.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, so the younger me would, I'd have to be, Donovan, just relax.
Were you hard to get through when you were younger?
Not if I believed in you. Not if I thought you were a good leader. Not if I thought you were a good coach. Not if I thought you were a good teacher. I was probably the easiest person to get through. But if I thought you were an idiot, there's no chance. No, for real. There's no chance.
So you go back and you say patience.
Patience. I mean, patience and tolerance, and probably there probably were times that I was very young that I was my method of communication was too direct, and sometimes I didn't really understand or take in someone else's feelings when I was trying to communicate with them. But it's still patience. It's absolutely still patience and tolerance, for sure.
You say you have a lot more patience now?
Well, I've learned. I mean, you have to. I mean, if I continue to be a student and I continue to want to learn about myself, learn about society, take from a younger generation that you grew up with technology and all this. I'm not from that place. So you're passing on knowledge and experience to me, although I'm older. It's absolutely. I got to do that.
So I want to shift gears a little bit here. You're doing a new series with the CBC. Canada's Ultimate Challenge.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Amazing, man. It's this came about. I was doing I've worked with CBC since I retired in 2001 as a sports analyst. You'll all find me. I drop in once a year to talk about track, and then I come and do some special programming. So we got a call last year that there was a reality show coming on, and it was, I guess it's how to describe it is, it's similar to Amazing Race, but not. You know what I mean? So you have four great average Canadians or fit Canadians that are coached into competing against the other teams. There's 6 teams, 6 prominent Canadians are coaching 4 fit Canadians to compete against each other in competitions that were designed by some incredible competition writers. So that's coming. That I think that launches February 16th. It certainly will probably be the biggest show in Canada. I mean, I'm a little biased, but it certainly will be the biggest show in Canada. I'm definitely looking forward to sharing that with the Canadian public at large. It was amazing. I thought I was physically prepared for it. It got taxing for even the coach. Even me, the coach. So hopefully, I have a second shot at that, where I definitely will go and get physically ready. Mentally, I was always ready, but physically, it was quite taxing and amazing. You'll see parts of Canada that are like beautiful. I think that as Canadians, we forget how big this country is and how beautiful this country is, and this show will actually detail it and show it to you. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope everyone tune in on February 16th.
Amazing. So you're a coach on the show.
I'm a coach, yes.
Are you a coach outside of the show in any way?
You know what? I'm not I don't think that I'm not. So I don't coach a team per se, but I think that I'm asked to speak a lot to CEOs. I'm asked to speak to teams. I'm asked to speak with community leaders. I'm asked to speak to federations. So in that way, I'm a coach. So would I? Can I be a coach of a specific team or people? Absolutely. But I'm not one today.
Would you want to be? Do you see yourself becoming a coach?
You know what? With my experience with the Ultimate Challenge Canada, for sure. I mean, I know that managing people for me is not that hard. So
requires patience.
It requires listening, not necessarily patience, and also it requires communicating with all those people so they understand that they themselves have to be prepared. Because I don't want complainers on the team, because I'll say you're not prepared. You're not prepared. That's why we're here. That's why we're screwing up. I guess I'm learning patience. See that? Yeah. And communication. But yeah, I mean, you know what? It's still, again, we talk about the characteristics of how it is that you're going to put yourself in an environment where you're going to be successful. So it's all of those things. It's still communication. It's still listening. But the number one thing is that you got to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So then on this show, we get to see like if a goat can be a coach, because usually goats can't be coaches. Like when you see like the greatest,
right?
Then at least for me, when I look, I'm
right.
like, yeah, you're great, but you can't be a coach,
right? I think it's extremely tough because you see yourself, and for me, I've always taught by example.
Do you coach how you would coach, or coach like your own way, like based on like how you received your coaching when you were training?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was, again, when I left Canada to go work with Dan, I was mentally and psychologically.
He was your coach for a long time, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He's the only coach that's coached me as a professional.
Okay, so you coach like him, you would say?
Yes. But I'm just saying to you that I communicated like him, and I do coach like him, but I knew that I was prepared. I mean, I went to him to be prepared physically because I had not put that work in, but he didn't really have to help me to be more confident and also to embrace whatever success I was going to receive. And there are times that, and plus, the show is TV.
Yeah.
And I think that there are times that people kind of go, hey, I can do that. I can do any interview. Put a mic live in my face. But then when it happens, you're like, and you're stuttering and you're trying to figure out what to do. They find out very quickly how difficult it is. They find out very quickly, what it's like to have, like dead silence when you're on the mic. Like, people don't understand how daunting that is, right? So you find out a lot of things about people. But coaching, yeah, I think I coach a little bit like Dan. I wanted my team to be, because we didn't have a lot of time, my team had to come in and they had to be at least physically prepared for competition. I mean, the psychological or mental part, a lot of times for people, is the hardest part, is the easiest part for me. So, again, this season, I think that you'll watch it and see some of the relationships play out and see those people that were physically prepared and some of the people that were not, and some of the people that were mentally and psychologically prepared and some of the people that were definitely not.
Yeah, those ones become obvious very quickly.
Right. And you'll see it. I mean, and that's why I think that the show is going to be the top show. I think it's going to be incredible, and hopefully this is a franchise that will last, 10, 20 years.
Okay. I got to know, because you said this at the beginning of our conversation here, you got to meet two of the most influential men.
People.
Humans.
Yeah.
Humans on the planet. Nelson Mandela and Muhammad Ali.
Right.
What were those conversations like?
Well,
How long were those conversations? How long were they?
Oh, they're very short. They're very. I mean, listen. I met Nelson Mandela in Toronto in I believe it was in 1997. But again, I'm the fastest human being on the planet. You know, but I'm also. This would be like a 5-year-old. What's my math? 20 something. 20 something. But me meeting both men would probably be like a 5-year-old. I mean, at my age, which is, I mean, again, I'm the number one athlete on the planet. But meeting both of those men, it'd probably be like a 5-year-old. It'd be like a 5-year-old soccer phenom meeting Messi. I mean, I can't think about, think about a 5-7-year-old phenom meeting LeBron or Michael Jordan. That's really how it was. But it's so much bigger because not only were these two men my heroes, they were like my father's hero, and my father is my hero, and my father is my mentor. You know, so and so it goes far beyond what it is that they did on their field of play. It goes far beyond that. I mean, civil rights and demonstrations and standing up for your rights and goals and standing up for people and using your platform to do good for other human beings who are less fortunate than you are. There's so much more. I mean, I remember being at Muhammad Ali's funeral actually, and seeing a lot of the other athletes that were there, and listening. I think it was Billy Crystal or Bill Clinton. It was one of them that was speaking about some of the incredible things that we were reminded of. Some of the incredible things that this one human being had done in his lifetime. And I think that every one of us, I mean, myself, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, a ton of boxers, but it was a ton of like incredible, influential human beings on the planet from all walks of life. We're all kind of sitting around looking at each other going, man, do you realize that all of us in this room, we all have global platforms and we all have work to do because this one guy did more than all of us collectively.
Wow. What a powerful moment.
Immense. I mean, again, those are some of those times that, I just sit and I'm mesmerized by, people and what it is that they can do, which simply means that, I think you asked me earlier, what are my goals for the rest of my life? My God, imagine that. I mean, think about think about the two men that we're talking about right now and what it is that they did in a full lifetime. I mean, I got billions of miles to go.
Well, they were definitely incredible individuals, and you've lived an incredible life, and there's still so much more to go, and we're really excited to watch this journey. We're excited to watch the show. We're excited to see what else you've got coming up. Do you have anything else in the works? You said you have a book in the summer.
Yeah, I have a book coming up. I have a deal with Sony. Oh my God, Penguin Random House. Sony Penguin Random House.
I thought you were going to say you were dropping a record or something.
Oh hell, well, no, dude, I can't sing worth crap. Yeah, so we have a book coming out in the summer. It might be pushed to the fall. Where I think that so my real story will be told. There's a 6-part docuseries that we're gonna start taping now. It's called Heat, and that's the true story of our relay team also. I'm certainly involved with several startups. So in business, we're gonna continue to do incredible things. And of course, appearances, throughout the country, throughout the globe, really, and I'll continue to try and inspire generations of people and to make sure that I at least play my part to inspire people to be successful. My foundation, Pass the Baton. Pass the Baton is in part one of my foundations, one of the initiatives that I have, which is a mentorship program in Canada. And Pass the Baton is very simple. It goes right in line with how it is I live my life and the things that I've spoken about today. I encourage every single Canadian to pass on their wisdom, education, talent to someone younger. Don't care what it is that you do. It doesn't. If you're a construction foreman, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're a business person, if you're a marketing executive, it doesn't really matter. What I encourage every single Canadian to within Pass the Baton is to pass on the knowledge and education and experience that they have learned, so that we'll have an incredible generation of positive, self-supportive, and productive members of society.
I love it. We're definitely going to pass the baton in terms of passing on this knowledge to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and it was an honor, it was a pleasure just to sit here and listen to you talk, and you do amazing things. You've inspired so many people, and I know you said that you don't really pay attention to some of that. You just focus on your next step. But
Right.
I just want you to know that you inspire a ton of people, myself included, Matthew included. So thank you, sir, for coming through. We appreciate you.
My next up is definitely going to be tell my sister that I talked to Donovan Bailey.
Yes.
My grandmother's going to be so happy.
Dude,
my grandmother loves you, man.
Well, that's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
what I think that it's. I mean, I'm placed here.
You're Bayesian. You're Bayesian, right?
Yeah, no, I'm Jamaican, man.
Jamaican?
I'm
Full?
Jamaican.
Okay.
I'm everything.
I'm Jamaican Bayesian. I just
No,
she
but-
loves you so much. I just assumed that.
No,
you're Bayesian.
but I listen. I am every grandmother or every mother's favorite son. That's really what it is, and because I do, my journey is not necessarily every black man's journey or every man's journey. But what I do is, I will inspire people to be their better selves. But more importantly, if there's disenfranchised people or the lesser than or whomever, I will encourage them to come, and they can certainly use my platform. You know what I mean? That's why I'll come in here and be like, guys, this is awesome. Thanks for having me. Continue your good work. Continue doing good work, and I'm gonna be, supporting you in both your endeavors to continue kicking butt.
Appreciate it. Man.
Appreciate it. Couldn't ask for anything more.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Poncho, appreciate you as always for helping us out.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe.
All of that.
All of it.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks,
I
everyone.
didn't even talk about my podcast, but that's
Yeah, what is your podcast?
What's your podcast?
I have a podcast.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. I forgot. This is terrible. I have a podcast available on all podcast platforms. I mean, it's really just it's with Jason Portwando. It's called Donovan Bailey Running Things, and it really is just we try to we talk about sports. It's definitely a sports base, but we talk about sports and lifestyle and anything that's in the news. It's a half hour every week, and we have a good time. We have a good time. It's a lot outside of what it is I usually am, because sometimes I think people think that I'm the serious guy all the time, but I'm
They
not.
see another side.
Yeah.
of it.
But I'm not. I mean, the playful way of dealing with sometimes serious issues, sometimes not.
Awesome. What's it called?
Donovan Bailey Running Things.
Make sure you tune in to the Donovan Bailey Running Things podcast.
Yes, absolutely. Available on all platforms.
Yes, all platforms.
Yes.
And then tune in to Gents Talk right after that.
Absolutely. Tune into both. There's no competition here, man. We're supporting each other.
100%.
Yes.
Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Not